Hi, I'm Alissa Wilkinson, and I'm a film critic, an author, and a professor in New York City. And I am so excited to join you and discover what I've learned about myth making from studying and writing about Joan Didion. I wrote a book entitled We Tell Ourselves Stories, Joan Didion and the American Dream Machine. And that book is all about how Didion was part of myth making in Hollywood and then in America, and also how she made her own myth. So I want to talk about that with you. Didion is one of those writers that everybody seems to love, whether they're a reader or writer, both because her sentences are really beautiful and also because her insights feel really probing. They seem incisive in a way that lots of writers never achieve. But also, people love Joan Didion because of her iconography. She has these very chic photographs that people often remember of her leaning on her Corvette Stingray, smoking a cigarette, or later on, she was the face of Celine, the fashion brand campaign she shot when she was 80. So she was very involved in developing her own image and her own mythology while also being a great observer of mythologies that were being spun at the movies and in American culture at large, both political and cultural. So that image of Didion, I think, is really a fascinating lens for us to see what she teaches us about the power and the perils of myth making. I think that her myth making was very much on purpose. I think she knew what she was doing. And I think that as someone who had worked in Hollywood as a screenwriter for movies like A Star is Born and The Panic in Needle Park, Up Close and Personal, she was very familiar with the apparatus that exists in American culture for making personal myths as well. I find all of this fascinating. I think you will too. And I think it's a great lens through which to understand Didion's work. So, whether or not you are a Didion fan or you're a Didion newbie or somewhere in the middle, I think that this is a great way to start understanding her work through a new lens. So, we'll have a 90-minute class and we'll explore five things I've learned about myth making from Joan Didion and what that means to us. I We'll talk through some of these topics, the stories our families and our cultures give us to live by. We'll talk about how imagery is powerful in myth making. We'll talk about how Hollywood in particular has shaped us to understand the world through mythologies. We'll talk about how celebrities that Didion wrote about, like John Wayne and Martha Stewart, create a mythology for themselves and why we love that mythology so much. And then we'll finish with thinking about how writing about mythologies helps us unlock the stories behind the stories that we tell ourselves. So I hope you'll join me no matter your orientation to Joan Didion, and we can discover these together. And I'm really excited to talk with you about them.